My partner's 26-meter reaction to me, 26F, being assaulted scared me. What do? TLDR. A stranger assaulted me on the bus, and instead of offering support or comfort, my partner yelled at me, looking for any advice on how to proceed. Fellow Redditors, what do you do about an unprecedented behavior from your partner? Am I just freaked out, or does something need to change? I'll get right into it this weekend. I got into a conversation with a man at the bus stop, who was flirty but seemed respectful when I told him to back off. He asked if he could kiss me, and I told him no. At this point, I was starting to feel uncomfortable, but regardless, was still trying to be friendly for some god-forsaken reason. We sat separately, and I didn't think much of it. Then right before he got off the bus, the stranger told me that I could give him this one, and pulled me into a kiss. He stepped off the bus and disappeared while I tried to avoid the judgmental stare from the bus driver. I got off the bus feeling sick to my stomach and called my partner to pick me up as soon as he could. When he arrived, I was halfway out of my body, feeling incredibly upset and terrified, and like everyone was staring at me as they drove past the bus stop. When my partner, we'll call him W, picked me up, I think he could tell something was wrong, but didn't ask, as is sometimes his way. I think sometimes he waits for me to come to him, which is not always a good thing. I told him that something had happened on the bus, telling that a stranger on the bus had kissed me. W exploded. He yelled, "What?" louder than I've ever heard him shout before. He's never yelled at me. He knows it's a big fear trigger for me, but I don't think he remembered in the moment. He was just incredulous and angry. "And you didn't punch him? You didn't kill him?" W kept yelling. I couldn't look anywhere but the road at this point, staring straight ahead, stiff as a board. I don't remember what I said next, but the reaction was the same. I was trying so hard to stay calm and not go total silent, but the yelling didn't stop. A few things he said included something along the lines of, "If you're not prepared, you're just a victim in waiting." I don't even remember what made me snap, but right as he pulled into our apartment complex, I snapped and screamed, "He fucking assaulted me!" which was hysterical and completely insane, and W screams back, "So why did you let him?" I all but took the door off trying to get out of the car, broken earring with my struggle with the seatbelt and my headphone cord. I slammed the door and watched him speed off into our building's parking lot about 100 feet away. I burst into tears. He got out of the car and took a lap around the building on foot to cool off. I followed and got my things out of the car and let myself inside our apartment. I shut myself in the bathroom and called my friends until someone answered. We'll call this friend S. S asked what was up, and I just sobbed incoherently until I managed to get the story out. S asked if W was going to hurt me, and I said, "No, I don't know why he's doing this. He's so angry with me." W came to the door of the bathroom and knocked until I told him to go away. He asked if I was hurting myself, which I didn't respond to other than sobbing. He let himself in and sat down at the far end of the bathroom from me. He just stared at me, didn't say anything, just fucking looked at me until I broke and asked what he wanted. I don't really remember what happened or what he said next, but the conversation was unpleasantly rough. I know he apologized at some point. Profusely. I do recall telling him that it was very fucked up to treat someone like that, and he said that he had panicked. I mentioned the idea of not telling him, and he got angry again. He tried to leave the apartment at one point, but he drives angry, and I didn't want him to get hurt. I told him I needed him to stay, and he accepted that immediately. He started stress cleaning at one point, and the idea of not moving sounded awful, so I started cleaning too. I think the atmosphere dispersed slowly, but I was so beyond okay. I was completely terrified of doing anything out of line. My ex abused the fuck out of me in a lot of ways, physical and emotional, and W has never done anything like this before. He's never had more than a brief flare of temper, nothing like this level of anger, and never towards me. We went out to dinner with friends, as we'd had the plans for a week. I didn't object to going out. It sounded better than staying home and rotting. We didn't talk about it until we got home much later, when I was rather inebriated after drinks with friends. He apologized again, saying he didn't know why he acted like that, and he was sorry for scaring me and making me cry. My brain won't stop being afraid, even though he's promised to work on this. He's the kindest and funniest man I know, but this wasn't okay. I don't feel okay. I feel anxious and scared to be at home. I'm terrified of going out and seeing the bus stranger again. What do I do? How am I supposed to feel safe with someone who reacts like this? Any advice would be fantastic.
Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe Reddit Revelations.